Three things you should already know when it comes to setting yourself apart and solidifying your expertise. Listen, what makes you different? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about today is identifying your expertise and your target audience. I see so many people who are trying so hard to market their business on the internet and they're not seeing the results. People are not opting into their lead magnet. They're not scheduling a call with them. They're not generating or converting leads. And I can tell you, one of those reasons is because they have not solidified their expertise in the marketplace and they have not solidified who their target market is. So I'm going to go over with you three tips for setting yourself apart and solidifying your expertise. In this video, I hope you take away knowing that you just can't talk to everybody. Okay. And before you go out there and try to sell to people or try to create a challenge or a masterclass, you have to know what you're an expert in. You have to take the time to create your think tank. So I'm going to share my screen with you and I'm going to talk with you about how three tips for setting yourself apart and solidifying your expertise. All right. So, tip number one when it comes to identifying your areas of expertise and your target market, I want to focus on knowing the pinpointing your USP. Now, what is a USP? Your USP is your unique selling proposition. You ever wonder what sets you apart from your industry? It is your exceptional customer service, your innovative product design, or perhaps it's your unbeatable price. Maybe it's your unique story behind the brand that resonates with your audience. Think about it. Why should someone choose you over your competitors? If you can answer that, then you found your unique proposition. Now, let me just kind of dive deeper into what that means or what that looks like. Because for me, it was hard for me to identify what it is too. I'm just going to be honest about that. It was just so hard for me to figure out what is it that set me apart? What is it that set my business apart? And sometimes people looking for a physical thing. And sometimes it's not a physical thing. It could be an intangible thing, something you can't see. I talk about this grocery store all the time. They need to call me. Publix grocery store in Florida, right? Because I know not every state have Publix, which I just found that out. Oh God, why? Why not? And my husband cannot stand going to Publix. He just think their prices are just too high, and he don't understand why I keep going to this expensive grocery store. But let me tell you, what set Publix apart is their pleasure. Right? It's a pleasure going there. And what I mean by that is there's always somebody to help you. If I need something on an aisle, I cannot find it, there's always somebody there. The the public store there is always cleaned. There's always asking you, you want me to help you out to your car, and the food is always fresh and the salad is fresh. It don't look like it's been sitting compared to other grocery stores. It doesn't look like it's been sitting on the shelf for 20 years. It's not spoiled and just sitting out there. The aisles are clear. Even if somebody's unpacking something, you can still get what you want. You don't have to go around people. So just the pleasure. And that, again, there's title is always a pleasure, right? Shopping at Publix. So just the way of how their presentation, the experience, to me, that's why I keep going there. Even when my husband tells me, their food is so expensive. So that's Publix unique selling proposition. So I want you to take what I just say and ask yourself, what is your unique selling proposition? What makes you different? What makes you stand out? And it, to me, Publix customer service is one of the best. It's just one of the best. For me, there's a certain things about my business. Number one, I am a mom. I'm an immigrant. I've been single mom before. I have the story of a former cop. So all of this stuff, my story of my business is what my unique selling proposition. And you're going to find out your own story that got you from where you are, for, from the pit to the mountaintop. That story that you are afraid to talk about or afraid to say or tell your story, that also is a unique selling proposition. And the reason why is nobody have that story but you. No one has that story but you. So I also want you to identify that your story, your unique selling proposition is also going to be a challenge you have, and how that challenge you are tired of having that challenge and you figure out a way to solve that challenge. Like for me, perfect example, I hear people say all the time, schedule a call, schedule calls, get people book on your calendar, get them book on your calendar. Just get them out there, get them book on your calendar and get a full calendar booked. And me as a mom who's always at soccer game and soccer practice and traveling, I'm like, who wants a book calendar? I don't. I know you don't. Right? Even if you're like, yeah, I want a book calendar if I'm making money. Yes, boy, if you're making money and burned out, what good is money? So when even now when I hear the word about book calendar, it's a crunch for me. So as a unique selling proposition is the first thing you're going to identify is saying to yourself, what is something in your life, in this industry you're in or in the expertise that you're in, that you were unhappy with, and you create a solution for that because of your something. So whatever that was you're unhappy with, that's your story. And then you created something around that. And that's a unique selling proposition. So when I realized that this book calendar thing is not for me, taking one-on-one calls is not for me, I wouldn't even have time to record this video if it was for me, right? So when I realized quickly that one-on-one and having a book calendar is not for me, I started figuring out how to move from one-on-one a sales call to one-to-many sales call. Right. And when I started trying to figure that out, because moms, wives, women, I knew our schedule didn't permit what society, what guru was telling us about taking one-on-one calls. So I was doing death to one-on-one calls and going into the idea of creating one-to-many. And that became my unique selling proposition because it came from a story of me being a busy mom and want to make sure that I can still impact live, but not burn out or sacrifice my family to do it. So that's my unique selling proposition. So what is yours? What is yours? What is your story? What is the thing that you know how to do well? And how did you develop that? What is the story behind that situation? Because that's what I want to pull out of you to let you know that's how you find your unique selling proposition. I'm going to go to the next one. After you pinpoint your unique selling proposition, the next thing that you have to pinpoint is defining your ideal customer. And what I mean by defining your ideal customer is understand your customer needs and their preference. And we're going to get in pain points in a little bit. Identifying your customer demographic. Now, for me, when I discovered my USP, I then realized that I'm not the only one that has a problem with listening to gurus telling me I need to have a book calendar. I need to get on the call. I need to dial 300 people. I need to door knock. When I realized, okay, I'm not the only one have a problem doing that because of my life. I don't want to be burned out. I don't want to have $1 million be burned out. I want to have $1 million and have joy. So creating a business model that allowed me not to have that is what transformed for me. And then I say to myself, oh, I think other women who are service-based business, who are into sales, would like to learn this model as well. So for you, whatever you identify as a unique selling proposition, whatever you identify that has been a problem based on your life and you want to change that problem, you're going to say to yourself, who is currently affected by this problem? Right? Which brings me to my next one, which that person who is affected by that, ever wonder why your last marketing campaign didn't hit market or why your last product launch didn't generate a buzz? It's possible because you miss the most crucial element in understanding customer pain points. You have to understand, like, but here's the thing. If your unique selling proposition is your own story, you will understand your customer pain point because they're only one chapter behind you. Whoo, this is so good. It is, you're only one chapter behind you. So here's what I want you to understand. Once you get one right, once you understand what makes you different, and your story is what makes you different, and the fact that you're the pain of where you were in a situation like me, like, is this what is going to look like in the space I was in, finance insurance space? Do I need to quit this and go back and get a 9 to 5? Because it's not that it's not successful. It's just I can't do these calls. I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to market and all this stuff. It was in my head. So in your case, you have a story of how you became the expert in the space that you're in. And that story is your unique selling proposition. Then you're going to say to yourself, who else is right now stuck in that same situation that you just found a solution for? And what are how are they feeling? What is the issues that they're going through? I realized that moms like myself were stuck taking one-on-one calls, feeling burnt out, sit there waiting on a call only to find out the person not going to show up, no call, no show, and wasting your time telling people individually something that you could tell everybody all at once. When I realized that these was the pain points because they were missing out on volleyball games, soccer games, spending time with family, traveling. Because of that, I got smart and I decided that no, I got to come up with something. And when I came up with my one-to-many model, when I realized the pain point that they were going through, I say more people got to know this. So I became an expert in teaching women how to build their credibility, community, and cash flow and do it fast without sacrificing their family time. So for you, it's the same thing. Once you figure out your unique selling proposition, then what happened is, because your unique selling proposition is around your expertise and the story of how you found your expertise. And then when you create that story of how you found your expertise, you say, oh, who has this problem? Understanding their pain point of who had this problem. And then you're going to say, okay, the target audience who have this problem, they're my target audience. Now, let me add this caveat to your target audience. Understanding their pain point is great because there's a lot of target audience that may have this issue, but this is so important. The target audience that you're going to help, they have to be able to afford you. Because that's how you continue to push your unique selling proposition, your mission forward. You can't push it forward if you ain't got no money to push it forward. So they have to be able to afford you. So when you choose a target market that is going through your challenge right now, they have to be able to afford the price. All right? Okay. So it's important for you to understand that. It's important for you to realize that your target market has to be able to afford you. Your unique selling proposition is your story of what you've been through, of how you discover your expertise. You just said you're the expert in something, but how did you discover it? What challenge were you having that you discover that? And who is currently going through it? What is their pain that they're facing? And who are they? And that's how you discover. I love it. And when you get all of these 3 things correct, you, my friend, have identified your expertise and your target market. Isn't that beautiful? I love it here. So I have a little homework for you. I want you to use these 3 things and come back and let me know. Uh-oh. To pinpoint your USP, define your ideal customer, and understand their pain point. When you do those things, you will now have the messaging of how to talk to your target audience. Now that we've covered that, I challenge you to take the time to write these things down, identifying your unique selling proposition, pinpoint the pain points of your target market, and identify your target market. Once you do those three things, what happens is you now create a breakthrough of creating content for your target market because they now understand. They now will feel like you understand where they currently are. And when you create content around that, they will say yes to you. All right. So make sure you do your homework and comment below if you promise to do this homework and come back and let me know how that turn out. All right.